How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about ChargePoint, which was up 7.49% on the day. We saw a lot of momentum coming into the EV sector. And I know there were many members inside of the Discord who were loading up on shares when it was trading in the $8 range and as well as in the low nines and taking advantage of a swing trade opportunity, some taking advantage for long-term share positions as well. But you know what? I won't waste any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder or you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for ChargePoint. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $9.62, being up 7.49%. On the low, it tested $8.50. And then on the high, testing $10.20. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 15.662 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 11.018 million shares. So we had above average volume on the day, and it's part of the reasons why we've seen some strength in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it is at 28.92. So it is deep in that oversold territory and it is curling up. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 200-day, the 100-day, the 50-day, and as well as the 21-day EMA. And it's clear to see that ChargePoint is in a bear market, trading below all of our major moving averages. So we ended up seeing a low for ChargePoint at $8.50, being a 52-week low as well. But it was able to make a big jump, going all the way to $10.20. So if we see this momentum continuing going into tomorrow, we want to see a break above 10.20, of course, but we want to see a move to see how well it can perform if ChargePoint can get here to around $11.38. ChargePoint can get moving very quickly. We are well aware of this. But if we don't get this move, if we can have a push to at least around $11, I don't think that would be a bad look, because that's only 80 cents higher from the high that we had today. Now, if we decide to consolidate, we did have a very strong day, then I'd want to see us form a higher low. So we made that low at $8.50, so most preferably, could $9 hold up? That would be something that I would really want to see. And if we could hold up $9 going into next week and we could see some more buying coming into the market, that's where I want to see a close from ChargePoint above $10, which I think is very doable. But if we decide to have a pullback and there's some more weakness, I can see us making another 52-week low and then testing right here around $8. For my long-term investors out there, I know you have been adding to your position since you've been doing your research, and we also had some people inside of the Discord loading up on shares when ChargePoint was trading below 9 as well. So again, have a strategy, very important. Let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for ChargePoint. So green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. So we have Tompkins Financial Corp that purchased 100 shares, and we have D.A. Davidson's and Company that purchased 10,701 shares, and then we have some more closed positions here. But now we have Bank of Montreal that has a put position of 7,600 as far as for the value of shares, and then we also have MetLife Investment Management LLC being at 4,558 shares. And we have CIBC World Markets Inc. that purchased 11,900 shares. And we have Jump Financial LLC that purchased 213,800 shares. So we can see institutions are continuing to load up on ChargePoint. Now, when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 72.82%. And then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 5.47 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 1.5 million, updated 23 minutes ago. And then for the short borrow-free rate, it is at 3.19%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 10th, it was at 58.37. And then for the close of the 11th, being at 72.82. So what does this show us when we take into consideration the short interest percentage of the float being at 15.20%? ChargePoint does have short squeeze potential. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for ChargePoint. So we see on the inflow, it was at 19.36 million, and then on the outflow, it's at 15.30 million. So we had an inflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large, it was 0. On the medium, it was 10.48 million. On the small, it was 8.88 million. And then on the outflow side for the large, it was 1.38 million. On the medium, it was 6.71 million. And then on the small, it was 7.21 million. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for May the 12th, we end up having that outflow of negative 1.38 million. And then for the 10th being at negative 2.37 million. Analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tends to represent the retail side, you can see that we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at the large, represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had a lot more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 4.67%. So again, not too bad of a range for a stock like ChargePoint. We know how volatile it is. It is a growth stock, and plus we've been dealing with a lot of volatility in these markets as well. But as far as the strength that we saw today, it was definitely exciting to see. We'll talk about it further in the final thoughts, so let's get into it right now. So for my final thoughts for ChargePoint, when it comes to the price action, so we ended up seeing a low of the day at $8.50, and keep in mind this is also a 52-week low. As far as for the high, we ended up seeing $10.20. So congratulations to all of my traders who were able to catch that move. I know many people inside of the Discord loaded up on shares when it was trading in the $8 range and also inside of the low 9s. So many were able to swing trade that for some profits, and we also had some who were holding shares for the long term as well and taking advantage of the dip. And one thing that I want you guys to know about, this is why I always emphasize having a strategy, knowing what your intentions are before pushing the buy button. Now, as far as for this price action, many people are saying, you know what, this is just a dead cat bounce. So if it is a dead cat bounce, what I want to see from ChargePoint, I want to see if it can form a higher low. I feel that wouldn't be too much to ask. I am not saying that I want to see ChargePoint closing at $10 by the end of day Friday. That is a lot to ask for, and that is going to be quite the move. But if it's able to do that and then go into next week, that's where I could see ChargePoint getting into the $11 range. So that's why I keep a very close eye. And if it decides to pull back, as long as if it could hold $9, I think it would be good enough to see how the stock could do as far as for next week. We know we are waiting for momentum to come back into the market. And when that buying pressure does come back, we know that ChargePoint is going to be one of those plays that's going to be moving alongside with it. We also have to take into consideration Rivian ended up releasing their earnings and Wall Street loved it. So there were a lot of stocks in the EV sector that started running up, especially when we take into consideration a lot of these stocks are not profitable whatsoever. So when I see that kind of momentum, that's why I say, you know what, we want to see if it's going to be sustainable. That is the most important thing. But of course, if you are an investor and if it decides to pull back even below that 52-week low, it does provide an opportunity. But make sure you do your research and you have high conviction to know that, you know what, if it pulls back even more, I'm down to load up on the dip. Many people on the Discord are that way, and that's why I want to make sure that you have a strategy for yourself. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership, we can see institutions are continuing to load up on shares. Plus, on top of that, ChargePoint does have short squeeze potential, and there's no surprises. We are in a bear market. It is a growth stock that is not profitable. I know I sound like a broken record here, but this is exactly the case. But do know, when we have buying pressure, when we have a catalyst, we can see strong moves in price action. Come on, you saw what happened today. But at the end of the day, ChargePoint is still going to be one of my high conviction plays. I do believe in the long-term prospects for this company, and you can let me know inside of the comment section what your thoughts are. Let me know if you traded it today and so forth. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see how the stock performs going into tomorrow, which is Friday. I'll be talking to you guys soon.